This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a look at the ALPAKA Vertex Pouch, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So the primary pack material that we're working with on this one in particular is recycled 600D polyester. It's their AxoFlux material. We've seen this a few different times from ALPAKA. It's really nice looking, I think, and it's also very durable and just has a nice sleek look. There are a couple different colorway options for this one. I think there's 3 at the time of recording. There is this green one, which is the AxoFlux, a black AxoFlux, and then a black X-Pack. So that's something that we've been seeing from ALPAKA more and more, is that they'll have the AxoFlux and then a X-Pack if you're looking for more lightweight and also a little bit more weather resistance, but I think that this AxoFlux is going to be more durable in the long run. But we have YKK zippers. As you can see, we have a AquaGuard seal here to keep all of your gear safe. So this material does pretty well in the rain and stuff like that, but then we also have these zippers which are going to keep rain from sneaking in through the holes in the zipper track. So overall, pretty happy with that. Pretty easy to operate in my personal opinion. On the back side here, we have a handle which stays out of the way, which I like, so it's not really in the way of the front apparatus here, because this is supposed to be used as a few different things, which we'll get into when we talk about the main compartment, but it just stays out of the way when you're wearing it as a sling or if you're trying to use it as a desk caddy, or really whatever you're trying to use it for. It doesn't have a bunch of clearance, so it isn't the most comfortable to hold on to like that, but typically you're not gonna be carrying it like this for an extended period of time because you can add the strap. And you add the strap on these loops right here. So this is where you would attach let me grab it real quick. Got these gatekeeper clips right here, so you just feed those through and then you are ready to go and carry it as a sling. On the bottom here, we have a D-ring. So that's how you can attach a stabilizer strap. You see this a lot from ALPAKA as well. They sell a stabilizer strap, or you could probably just rig one up yourself, or purchase one from somewhere else, or a sling that you already have. Or if you have a bunch of ALPAKA stuff, you can probably use the same one for multiple slings. So you can attach this here and then attach it to the strap, or you could also attach gear on here if you wanted to. If you're carrying it as a sling, throw a carabiner or something on here, and you are ready to go. And one more thing about hardware, since we're talking about that right now, is the strap has a Maglocks strap on it. Again, we've seen this a bunch from ALPAKA. That's something that I really like from them, is that you know what you're gonna get. Typically they use a lot of the same materials, a lot of the same hardware. This is a sliding magnet buckle. Pretty easy to use once you get used to it. If you haven't used it, it might take you a little while, but overall pretty happy with how it operates. And pretty happy with how this thing looks. I know this is a green colorway. Some of you might prefer the black one, but overall I think it looks pretty well and it's held up pretty good so far, especially given how long we've tested it for. So this is meant to transition from tech pouch to sling in a flash, and it does do that pretty well. As I mentioned earlier, you just have these gatekeeper clips. They clip on like that. Pretty easy to snap them into place. Getting them off isn't as quick. It's just, I mean, even once you get used to it, it's not so bad, but you've got to like twist this swivel and then pinch it just perfectly, and it's harder to do sitting on a table on camera. But once you get used to it, it's pretty quick. It's not as quick as putting them on, but the whole process does go fairly quickly once you get used to it, so you can kind of make that transition quicker than you would. But before we talk about the strap, let's talk about the back panel a bit. So it is very sturdy because of the padding and organization on the inside. There's not really any dedicated padding or anything like that, like just for the back panel, but I found it to be pretty comfortable. If you have a smaller frame, it might feel a little bit big and just a little bit beefy, and this might like not necessarily push into a little bit, but you'll feel the handle, not necessarily in a bad way, but you'll just feel it's there. So this is one of the things that when designing it to make it work for all the different things that this works for, they didn't really give it a back panel, and that doesn't bother me so much, but if you were wearing this all the time every day with like a thin shirt on in a warmer climate, you might start to notice that a little bit. The strap has padding here. It's not super dense or super big, but it does have padding, and that helps when you load this up with tech or something like that. If you're using it as a tech case that you're also using as a sling, this does help with that. It doesn't move around at all, so you can't like shift it from one place to another, but overall I found it to be pretty comfortable. And then we do have these strap keepers here as well to make sure that there isn't strap just dangling around everywhere. So as far as slings go, it's not the most comprehensive system, but it does work. So if you've been finding this video helpful so far, make sure you throw a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. But this is how I typically wore the Vertex pouch while I was testing it. I really like having it on the front. I have quick access to everything that I need to have access to, and it's just comfortable for me personally. Some people might not like that. They might want to transition to back carry, and that's kind of when the padding on the strap here comes into play a little bit because again, it doesn't move, it doesn't slide around. So if you get it perfectly adjusted, like you move the adjusters around to make it where it's on your shoulder, like I have it right now on back carry, because this is the last way that I was wearing this. And then when you switch to the other side, right now, like I don't know what to call it, like the pinnacle of where my shoulder meets the strap. It's like it's kind of on the padding, but it's also kind of on the buckle. And that's not the most comfortable. It's not super uncomfortable, but you do have to readjust it if you want to go from back to front frequently and still be using that padding. But overall, I found it to be pretty comfortable, especially for something that isn't designed just to be a sling. This is obviously a pouch that transitions to a desk caddy and a sling. So pretty happy with it, but some people might be a little bit annoyed by that. So we've got just one secondary compartment to work with, so let's dive right in. It's up here on the top, so you can get pretty quick access to it when you are wearing this as a sling. And I have my phone stowed in there right now, just so I have quick access to, you know, send texts, make calls, take pictures, use navigation, whatever. You know what a phone does, you get the picture. But this is crafted from mesh on the inside here, and that's because this is actually a double pocket. You can access this pocket from the main compartment or from out here. So you can, I think it's very intuitive because it doesn't take up a lot of space. So typically if you have a secondary compartment, there's extra material on the outside, whereas this is just sharing space with the main compartment. So you're not getting extra space, but you're not adding extra materials either, because it's just a pocket on the inside that you can also access, like two-way access either side. So I really like that. It fits your phone. If you have a bigger wallet, you might not be able to do phone and wallet at the same time. You might have to choose, but I was able to do that because I have my smaller phone, iPhone 11 standard, and then a Chum Surf Short. So I was able to fit both of those inside of there without issue. And then also when I transition to desk caddy mode, which I'll show you in a moment, I can still access that gear because it is available from the inside of the compartment as well. So let's move on to that now. So inside the main compartment, we have, this is where it really starts to show how it can transition. Obviously we showed sling mode, but from a tech pouch to a desk caddy. So some people might think that those are the same thing, but a lot of times there isn't super like intuitive stand up desk access for a tech pouch, and this one really does have that. So it flops open like this, and just off the bat you can see like, oh, I can see everything, I can get to everything, but there's also some magnets inside of here. So when you go like this, there's a magnet on either side that stays like that. I should turn this a little bit so you can see this stays down, and now I have access to this compartment here. And if I do have something inside there, I don't know if you saw that the magnet wasn't sticking super well. I find that when there is something in this compartment, that's not the case. And typically I think you're probably going to have something inside of here, but this is the access to that pocket that I was talking about just a moment ago. So here's my hand coming all the way through. So obviously you want to make sure that you keep these zippers closed when you're stowing gear inside of there, otherwise it might fall out of one end or the other. But now we're in desk caddy mode because I can get to everything, I can see everything. This can sit right here, I can have my computer right here, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I need a dongle, I can grab it. It's not a dongle, but you get the picture. It's facing me, it's ready to have gear taken out of it. So the organization I think is pretty intuitive as well. We have a big open area right here, and that's where I just have, this is our 3D printed Nintendo Switch. I did not bring mine today. So that fits inside of there. If you have a case, it might not fit inside there. It depends on the kind of case you have. Like I have the TomTalk case, and it just barely fits when I don't have a bunch of stuff in here, but when I have stuff in here, it's very tight and might not fit. We have, moving inward here, we have two mesh pockets. So good spot for like a wallet or something like that if you are splitting between, you know, phone here, wallet here. Just a good place to put different tech gear. Like I have 3 different cables all stowed into one. These are the 3 cables I need for everything: USB-C to USB-C, USB-C to Lightning, and USB-C to micro USB. Still rocking with the micro USB. You know that by now if you watch these videos. And then I have my 2 little wall chargers inside of here in the other one. So that's all my charging needs really right there. So nice to just be able to put things in there. They're not locked down. They don't have a topper. They do have elastic though, and it's pretty snappy. So if you put bigger stuff inside there, like those 3 cables, were able to be held pretty well, but these were not. So in theory, these could bounce out if things got a little bit rough. So this is a divider here, and there's gussets on the side. So you can kind of place this wherever you want to, depending on how you divide your gear. So if you want to put something bigger over here, you can pull it out further. If you want to put something bigger on this side, you can push it in because of the gussets on the side here. I really like that. It's like a shiftable. If you ever went to a school that had a gym that had the partitions, I remember like watching them push them around and like they would fold and stuff like that. That's what this reminds me of. If like, okay, there's kids playing dodgeball on one side and other kids are having a meeting on the other. That's what this reminds me of. That was a tangent that took far too long, so let's jump back into it. We have a middle compartment right here, which is magnetic again. We see lots of magnets from ALPAKA, so if you like magnets, this is the place to be. You can put pens, pencils, headphones inside of here, a stylus, and it's also one of the quickest to access things. So right when you pop this open, that's one of the first things that's there. You can grab it quickly and go. So if you're someone who writes stuff down a lot, it's nice to be able to just have quick access there. On this side, it's the other side of the divider, so you can put big gear, small gear, but typically flat gear does better here because you're gonna wanna put a large item here probably, and then just something flat here. At least that's how we tended to use it. This is my 20,000 milliamp battery bank, and I just kind of slid that right there. So it's not too small of an item, but it just fits nicely there, and then I can put something bigger here like a Nintendo Switch or a pair of over-ear headphones, which I did as well. And so the bottom here is padded, so this obviously stands up on its own, but the bottom's padded, so if you do, you know, like kind of clunk something down, it's not just hitting the ground. You have a little bit of padding on the bottom there as well. So pull that out. No other organization really inside of here except for this zipper on the back side, but there's no, I don't really know why there's not pockets here. Perhaps there's a reason, but didn't really miss them so much. But we have this organizer here on the back. It's gonna be hard to show you because of the lining material, but these 3 small pockets, which are good for like SD cards, smaller gear. I can't really think of what else to put there because all I did was put there was SD cards, but you can put SD cards in different little, like a SIM card or something like that as well. Just a nice place to have something to lock down that little gear. And then on the back wall here, we have space for a tablet. This is just a Kindle in here right now, but you could put up to an iPad mini in there, and we have that soft material on both sides. So you have space for a tablet, headphones, Nintendo Switch, and all of your little stuff as well. So there you have it, the ALPAKA Vertex Pouch. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.